Here's what's coming into view on Elevating Denver for October 2024. Feel the chills and thrills of 13th Floor Denver.
When are we coming back here?
Grab your lipstick and fishnet stockings for a look at Fashion Nation.
There's no outcasts down here.
Visit a farm that grows crops and generates energy.
This is a huge win-win-win for us.
Those stories and more are on the next episode of Elevating Denver.
Well, hello. I'm Macabre. All Denver residents should come here. They're gonna expect many scary and wonderful things. And most of all, there's me. And I will create beautiful operations for you.
13th floor. We're getting ready to scare the you-know-what out of Denver here, man. You know, we've been around for a while, and we have kind of transformed almost more into a scream park. We have a bit of a reputation as being one of the top 5 scariest in the world. And we take that very, very seriously, and we're proud of it. You know, we are, a group of about 150 people here that are passionate about what we do. It was a big party, and it's just kind of themed in a Halloween style. And we're really excited to show you all the additions we made this year.
I'm sorry.
So my name is Macy Ciardella. I'm the makeup manager here at 13th Floor, and I just love everything horror, everything spooky, anything creepy, anything gory.
She did this.
So we plan for the season like way months in advance. We get in contact with our production manager, Ryan, and we talk about how we want the looks to look like. We really draw inspiration on like specific characters too from classic horror movies sometimes, just to really get that familiarity for customers.
It takes us almost the entire year to get this place up and running and ready to go for all the guests here. So it's everything from the glow necklaces you have around your neck to lighting, to food, to bar tastings, to animatronics. At the beginning of the season here, we have over 100 people just here tonight, just making sure that the show goes smoothly. So I didn't even mention merch, and then also the escape games and all the other stuff we have on the grounds. We did add actually a whole new bar inside that we're really excited about, that one that you can actually hang out in and really kind of soak in all the sights and sounds in dead center middle of the haunted house. People ask me like, oh, is that your full-time job? And I was like, yeah, it sure is. It requires the whole year to get this place ready to go.
So this season we have about 55 actors in show, and about 35 of them are makeups. So we have about 35 makeups to do in an hour, split between 4 or 5 of us. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I really learned how to use the airbrush here. That's all we do. So I really got some good practice with that. So it's kind of interesting because the actors, they don't always play the same characters. So they're always getting a different face. And all the artists are getting to practice different faces. So these are actually prosthetics that we use. This is an unpainted one, but this is the one that we use on the zombie in the lot. I pre-paint that prosthetic. And then paint-wise, we use professional movie, Hollywood grade style makeup. It's an alcohol base, so it's like sweat-proof, waterproof, cry-proof, so it's really good stuff.
So I'm Joseph Newman. I've worked at 13th Floor Denver for 4 years now. When I was 8 or 9, I first got into haunted houses, and I actually used to build haunted houses in my garage at my house. And then I was like, okay, I should try to actually do this more professionally. So then I was like, okay, where's the first place I could think of? 13th Floor Denver. I'm obviously a scare actor. I get to go up to all of the other characters that are out here and just get to do one-on-one, oh my gosh, I just did this crazy thing. Do you want to come and get them with me? So it's a really fun, almost like a high school environment, which is really weird, but kind of fun.
You have no choice but to be at least a little bit afraid.
Success is creating such realistic and immersive environments and characters that people just can't help but believe they're real.
But as far as success for one season, kind of more on a personal note, is I get a chance to see just about every face that comes out of that back door after walking through the haunt, and they all have giant smiles on their face.
No! We're never coming back here!
We try not to take ourselves too seriously, but we also take the serious parts very serious as far as security and safety for all. And we want as many people as we can get out here and have as much fun as we possibly can together.
I would say the 13th floor is the best place you'll ever come to meet your death. You will enter our gates and meet the most spectacular, disgusting things you've ever seen in your life.
Guys, if you've been here before, great, but I tell you what, we have changed so much inside this haunt, you are not going to recognize it. It is a whole new animal this year, so I just encourage you to come out and give us a try.
Today we are hosting in Denver the first summit of its kind, which is Den AI, with a focus on how can government and private sector partner to use AI for good. How do we use it to solve some of the hard social problems we're working on? Everything from how do you reduce the amount of time it takes to get a permit through the city, to making traffic run more smoothly, to doing better crime prevention. We think there are ways that this technology can be used to both make government more efficient, less expensive, and get better outcomes.
And there's a lot happening with AI and technologies like generative AI. And so we are excited to embrace the technology in a responsible way with ethical considerations so that we can take the power of AI and unleash it for social good.
And so why don't you just organize Denver to have all those people here in Denver? It's a great place. Turns out we did.
Yeah, one of the things that's exciting about today is we have companies that are coming with ideas they have to see what might help us in the city. One we saw this morning that's focused on accelerating permitting time that makes it easier to get permits for your house faster. That's a citywide goal we have. Another one that makes it easier to buy supplies for our general services team when we're buying literally nuts and bolts and individual tools. Makes simple processes like that much, much faster. We know there's a lot of great ideas around education, tutors customized for every child that might need it. So we think there are real hopeful advances, and we're looking forward to see what they can do.
People are engaging with the City and County of Denver on more and more diverse topics, and we need to make a simple way for them to do that. Right now I run the 311 call center, so we're quickly adapting to our residents who want to text but do not want to call. So we partnered with a great vendor, CityBot, and we took our entire denvergov.org website and we built it into this chatbot. We launched Sunny in March of this year, and it's now handling on a busy day 40% of our interactions. So we're seeing that the adoption is quick, and we have really only scratched the surface as far as who knows about it. And we're just thinking this will grow and grow.
Really excited to be part of the Denver AI Summit. I'll be sharing a little bit about AMP's work in sustainability, essentially our robots and their impact on the recycling industry. So at AMP, we've used AI to build a next generation of recycling facility. We're able to build fully automated recycling facilities around robotics and all sorts of other technologies. They're very high performance. They're able to recover more materials. What AI does for us is allows us to sense all the different material we put in the recycling bin, and we've been able to build facilities that can sort the material directly out of the garbage, which opens up all sorts of new doors for the world of waste. What's important is AI is making it more profitable to harvest those materials. So you see an even greater incentive. You see businesses wanting these materials, and that's what we're trying to do. We don't really program the AI. We show it millions of examples of bottles and cans and paper, and we say, these are #1 plastics, so Pepsi bottles, Gatorade bottles, everything. And it looks for correlations. It basically looks for logos, shapes, textures. It essentially uses the same things that we use to identify. So it's like, oh, it's transparent, it kind of has the shape, that's probably a #1 plastic. It's learning to identify what people can identify. It's using fairly commoditized hardware, so it's lower cost than what's been possible in the past. And then you also end up having a high degree of reliability.
I think the challenge we face is how do we implement what might be a new technology that folks aren't familiar with or aren't comfortable with yet. And the other is, I think, helping make sure people are informed about what these tools do. We think it actually net contributes to the economy, and it also allows, in the instance of our city workers who are working around the clock right now or with not enough resources, them to have some of the time-consuming parts of their job taken care of for them so they can then focus on the things that only people can do and people can do best.
We want to get the bots to do the transactional work and the transformational work to humans. So when people feel great about their daily work and that they're adding value to the organization, that to me is success.
The next generation will be digital children, so they will expect the government to have digital channels, and we're going to deliver.
And I know people have questions, they have curiosity, sometimes they have concerns. And what we want to do is both get familiar with what positive impact this can have, encourage companies to help develop solutions we need for problems we're facing, and put in place the right set of guardrails to make sure that the use of AI is responsible and that it protects people's privacy and safety. And we think we can do all those. We think this is a real opportunity to leverage the best of AI to help make our lives better.
What's the favorite part of your day when you come in?
Looking cute. Talking to people. I mean, you're like getting them their outfit that they're gonna wear to like a wedding or their favorite concert or their first day of school or something. It's really cool to be a part of that.
We're very big parts of people's lives, which is crazy.
These kids that may have anxiety about something, when they come in here, you just see them melt and they're just like, they know they belong. That's the gem of this store. You know, we never take that for granted. You know, you get a, you know, we say this before, but we always took pride in selling someone their first pair of Docs. I love that. You know, it's such a, you know, it's a part of their life. You know, that's their part of their battle uniform. How many concerts that kid go to in those shoes, or, you know, how many first dates, whatever it is. You know, we get to be a little part of that, but it's a special part of that. In 1987, my wife and I, we thought it might be kind of fun to open a store. And she was designing clothes for different stores around town. We opened with 40 pieces of clothing and $1,000. Yeah, we started down by Wax Trax, the good old days on 13th. We had just this one little storefront, and as we evolved, we added a shoe store, and then years later we added the Babysitter's Nightmare, the kids store, and then we got kicked out. After 13th, we moved to Iowa and Broadway. We hitched our wagon to the Freemasons. It was their building. That chapter went out of business, and they had to sell the building, and so instead of going through all of that again, we decided to buy our own building this time. It's been a really fun nightmare. The building's really cool, but it needed a lot of work. You know, Pam had this vision of how she wanted everything to look, and we held tight to it, and it came out rad. When we were on 13th Avenue, the alley that we were connected to had a folklore about it, and it was called Anarchy Alley. It had cool murals and weird stuff. And so in the store now, we have this little hallway that we're going to kind of pay homage to, and we are calling it Anarchy Alley. You know, my wife's owned, you know, we as a partnership, but my wife's owned this business since the beginning, and to see a woman survive and kick ass, you know, in this field is great. You know, now we have, you know, 2 strong daughters coming up, but they're learning everything about the business. From day one, when they were born, they played in the back room at the store. You know, they know everything there is to know about this, and the business is going to be in good hands when we retire.
Growing up here, we just like spent a lot of time hanging out on the weekends. Whenever we weren't at school, we would come down and hang out with rock stars. We wore cute clothes.
Yeah, it really just felt like normal childhood because I didn't know that everyone wasn't hugging Al Jorgensen. You know, like that is just normal. So most of the teachers thought our parents were a little weird, and then they got to know them, and then they were like, oh, you're just the coolest family ever. I think our mom is the smartest, most capable person alive. There's nothing that she physically can't do.
And our dad taught us all of our social skills. We can talk to anybody, anytime, carry a conversation with, you know, anyone. But we've learned a lot from them. We still, as adults, spend 24/7 with them. We are never apart. We bought a house in their neighborhood so we could stay together all the time. So we love each other. It's not fake.
Yeah, it's very interesting because you tell people that you're like in your 20s and you spend 24/7 with your parents and they just don't get it. But it works so well for us.
It works for us.
When we moved over to Iowa after COVID, my daughters, Sid and Mia, put us up on TikTok. And that was a massive explosion. You know, we had, I think our first week, we had 20,000 followers, and, you know, there's what's near 900,000 people following us now.
No one was expecting it or ready for it or knew how to act with it, but we just kept going, you know?
Yeah, and it's not like we like came up with some crazy idea. We just shared our lives.
Yeah.
And people wanted to see it because we have like a very unique thing happening here.
You know, that mom in the old days that, you know, didn't want their kid to come downtown to get a pair of Docs, that young lady now is coming in with her kid. And they're like, which pair you want? You know? So, and it's fun to see the grandma come back in, you know, I used to come in here, you know, and they tell you, and you know, you love to hear it too. Oh, come visit, yeah. You know, everybody's welcome in here, you know. You know, that's the other thing, the legacy of the store is, you know, there's no outcasts down here.
Today is the grand opening of our 5-acre agrivoltaic project in partnership with the Office of Climate Action and Denver Botanic Gardens.
Are these spaced this way to intentionally make it possible for high sun crops to grow underneath? Otherwise, you'd have them be solid panels like those?
Exactly. Agrivoltaics essentially means agriculture and photovoltaics, so a farming system that also takes in power and generates solar energy. We planted some cover crop seed to see how that's going to do.
That's great.
And we're hoping to plant full sun crops here in this area because we have so much extra sun here. And then as we go back into the array, we're going to be planting shade-loving crops that like it cooler, things like broccolis and cabbages and so forth.
Yeah, this is an incredibly exciting project. We partner with the Denver Botanic Gardens and with our CASR office and of course with the state. And what it does is really help build a greener, more affordable, more sustainable environment for all of us. Obviously you add 1.2 megawatts of solar. That helps green the grid, provides high quality renewable energy to people that need it, both fuels this project, but also directly goes to support 150 families in Denver who are low income and have trouble paying their utility bills. This will help provide direct electricity to them, which reduces their bills, makes the city more affordable. And then we'll grow 100,000 pounds of vegetables here. It'll be food that can help support families in Denver in need through our food distribution plan. So you're really greening the environment, adding more solar energy, adding more fresh vegetables, and also at the same time making the city more affordable. So this is a huge win-win-win for us, and so delighted to see it get off the ground.
The agrivoltaics is 5 acres, and we have 46 rows of panels that will be generating electricity, and then we will grow crops underneath each one of those rows. The really cool thing about this system too, we can freeze any one of the zones and we can make it flat. We can make it all the way about like 70 degrees, almost up and down. We can do all sorts of various configurations. The Office of Climate Action is really the most amazing partner because they bring together solutions to all sorts of problems that we're experiencing right now. And Denver Botanic Gardens would never be able to answer the question of how do we sustainably produce energy? We can think about plants and we can talk about producing healthy crops, but really it was through the Office of Climate Action that gave us a way of looking at energy production that also could benefit plants, that could feed people and that could conserve water. So really having multiple players at the table allows for everyone in the room to come together with their best resources to put toward the problems that we're facing into the future with climate change and also food insecurity.
Do you think we have a shot at being the prom king and queen?
I definitely do.
The city of Denver puts on a senior prom every year. I think this is the 6th one.
Yeah, you make some new friends, you know, as you age.
And they all know where to go dance.
The senior prom is an annual event. It's important for us to provide this event because we want to celebrate all of the achievements that our older adults have done for society, where by knowledge, by sharing experiences, and also through just emotional support. The theme this year is Golden Glitter, and we wanted to focus on something that everyone had something in their closet that they can just bring. And it's so wonderful to see them all dressed up.
Gives people who didn't get a chance to go to their senior prom a chance? No, but I think it's important because it's great to provide people of all ages with opportunities to just have fun.
I think people need to be seen, and a prom is a place you can be seen and invited and included. And maybe some high school proms when we were all growing up weren't like that. So there's an opportunity now to get that right, to actually allow people to feel loved, seen, included. And I think the way this program was put on is an example of that could be for people of all ages.
The atmosphere of the senior prom is so magnificent because it's where seniors and also people with disabilities get an opportunity to just foster friendships with each other. They also have this youthful dancing experience where when you have music that people can relate to, it really changes that and brings that nostalgic memory of when they were kids. So it really does add that youthful experience to the event, and it's so wonderful to see them smile and dance and have fun.
I just think it's really a cool thing to have seniors prom. We don't always have opportunities to get out and dance in a safe environment, and this is certainly something that we can do. I've met really wonderful people just sitting at our tables, people that we normally might not mingle with, but I love the diversity, and I think it's a great program.
Yeah, this is our third senior prom, and I think we'll just keep coming back as long as we have it.
The City Park Pavilion was chosen because it's well-designed walking paths and wide enough pathways for mobility devices and also free of obstacles. We partner with several organizations that focus on some themes. So for example, Volunteers of America, we were focusing on senior engagement and volunteering. DPD would be focusing on safety. DPL would be focusing on learning. And the Office of Aging would be focusing on resources. So we have those partners at the venue so they can share and learn more about those resources. One of my favorite stories was when I met two seniors that had moved away from each other across town, and they reconnected at the senior prom, and now they use that as their checkpoint to check with each other and see how they're doing, and they also call each other often, but this is where they get to celebrate and get to reconnect every year.
Well, first I'll tell you, I'm a third-generation Denver person, and we were cruising down Federal Boulevard. Back in the days we got to cruise.
We looked at each other and said, hey, want to talk? So we did. So 52 years later?
51.
51.
He always says it wrong.
That's okay.
Our kids moved out here to Denver, and we followed them. And so we're relative newbies, but we've loved Denver from the moment that we got here, because there are like quirky things to do, like go to your senior's prom.
We both went on one date. That was each other. And she asked me if I would meet her at the zoo.
Right over
That'll be here, yeah. Because that way, you know, if she didn't like me, she could feed me to the tigers or whatever. And it went really well.
Turned out to be the best decision I've ever made.
Denver, I love you because you are my life. There's strength in that heritage of being a part of Denver.
Oh, I would say I love Denver primarily because it's allow me to raise my family.
Denver, I love you because when it snows, it melts.
Denver, I love you because of the weather, the atmosphere, and I met the love of my life here.
Denver, I love you because we're able to do this event and host it for people that really need to be celebrated. I want the legacy of DPR Senior Prom to be where we foster friendships and relationships between seniors, people with disabilities, and their families, focusing on dancing and having a wonderful night out, creating wonderful memories.
Stay elevated by subscribing to the city's YouTube page for these stories and more. And stay tuned to our social media channels for more content. Don't miss our new episodes of Elevating Denver, premiering each month. Thanks for watching, Denver.